let's just go ahead and figure out what this patch has got to offer first, I guess. I'm not going to be doing the content right now because I've got another stream planned for that. But first time logging in since, so let's go ahead and figure out what this is all about. Actually, do want to bring one thing out, and it's not like I'm hiding this. I just like to have in case somebody pops in some BM, I like to have it open. Plus, I like the artwork. It's a great meme. So, go ahead and add that. Okay, so that's said, make sure we got some messages, which we do. Oh, I forgot all about the pet checks.
Are you new around here? Good timing on your part.
Just because all I need is the very last one. I don't have any use for those. I'm probably only going to be doing one class, so all I need is this skill advancement 3. And yeah, so with all that said, let's go to training ground.
Another seeker of secrets.
Okay, so in my last stream, I talked about when to not use your skills and when to use them. It's really more just when to use your skills, because some people were asking questions about what does this skill do, why do we even have it, what's it for, and I was just trying to clarify that up. Unfortunately, the audio was a complete disaster. I wasn't aware that my background music severely overpowered my voice, and it made it very hard to read. So I'm going to go ahead and redo it. I'm also going to be adding in, talked about the changes that I submitted, among some other things. But let's go ahead and start where we left off, or where y'all left off. I kind of did it already, but our skills. Basically, I'm just going to go ahead and name the main ones off. Leaping Slash, use this all the time as filler. You want to make sure you use this any moment that it's off cooldown, that doesn't affect Shining Crescent or any of your main skills, which would be Shining Crescent, Maelstrom, Twilight Waltz, Godfall, and I guess Titan's Bane, since it's kind of like... Anyways, go ahead and use it anytime that you can, because it's good filler, and even if it doesn't do the best of damage. It adds up. It does quite a bit by its own right, just because of the sheer amount of times we hit it. It gives 30 Ragnarok points, which is huge, especially how much we spam it. It adds up quite a bit. It also chains into two of our good filler skills, which is Ground Bash and Glaive Strike. Ground Bash, you want to use this in Twilight Wall rotation, you want to use this in God's Fall, you want to use this in Ragnarok, you want to use it out of pretty much anytime it's off cooldown. Go ahead and hit it because it's so quick. If you're already hitting Leaping Slash, might as well just take it on there, unless you're going to miss like a Shining Crescent or something. Glaive Strike, you only want to use this during Ragnarok if you decide to opt into the Glaive Strike route. You could also use it in Twilight Waltz rotation, but you will not use it in God's Fall. It does a lot of damage, but it's kind of on par with Ground Bash now. And now that the factors with this patch that I just logged in today are in play, it will probably do closer than before. Because it's 174%, and this is 170. It has a 70 magic factor, and this has a 55. Well, I mean, the magical is not that great, but I don't know, it could be a Rune Burst thing where this is 280% magic and only 20%, you know. It's a big question mark. There will be more on this after I fuck around with it, but go ahead and treat that Glaive Strike is going to be about the same as Ground Bash. Blood Flower, you want to go ahead and use this as filler. Like, go ahead and incorporate it into your rotation, but don't go out of your way to use it. It's still a lot of Ragnarok points. If you're going to chase perfect evasion resets with it, only do so if you can reset it twice, because resetting it twice is like having an extra Blood Flower, whereas only resetting it once just shaves a couple seconds off. I don't think it's really worth it at that point. But if you can get 2 Blood Flowers off in a row, or 3 Blood Flowers off in a row, rather, with the resets, that's way better, in my opinion, just because it gives 150 points, as long as the chest is still in fact, which it is. So as long as you have that chest line, go ahead and use it, but don't go out of your way to get the crit on it from perfect evasion, because it's not worth it unless you get multiple ones off, like I said. Wind Slash, you won't ever use this to reset Leaping Slash, or at least you shouldn't, because there are way better alternatives for it. But go ahead and use this for movement skills. You can use this to kite. It moves you pretty far distance, and in Ragnarok it feels like it moves you faster than just the 20% speed, but maybe that's just my personal bias. You can use this instead of evasion to save an evasion, and it's actually kind of quicker than evasion, and it does damage. Like a good example of this would be Kylos's circles or donuts or whatever you want to call it. You can actually Wind Slash out of that. It's pretty good. Dark Herald, you really want to use this in the first Rune Burst out of Ragnarok, the last Rune Burst out of Ragnarok, and every Rune Burst in Ragnarok. Other than that, you want to use it to cancel skills. I explained this on a video with the rotation, but it's unlisted, so if you don't have the Valk Discord, you probably won't see it. But it does cancel animation. However, it's not like block canceling. It does have an animation of its own. So, like, say you cancel Glaive Strike, Blood Flower, Dream Flash. Those are really the only ones to cancel it with, or to use this to cancel them. You're still doing most of the animation of one of those skills, and you're still going to be doing most of the animation of Dark Herald. So it's not like a complete animation cancel, but it is cancel enough that instead of doing like 2 complete animations, you do like 1.5. And I know that it's not really a cancel, but it is because you still shave time. But yeah, go ahead and use it there. Shiny Crescent, obviously you want to use this as often as possible, but you want to make sure you have your 7 rune marks. There's exception to this rule, say Ragnarok's going to end in 1 second, you only have like 6 stacks. You don't really want to buff it because then you'll go on long cooldown, so just go ahead and use it at 6. It'll go on short cooldown. It's risky, keep that in mind, but it's, you know, it's a lot of damage still, and it'll go on short cooldown, which will be better for you in the long run because it gives you an extra Shiny Crescent. If it does go on long cooldown, you still have Twilight Waltz, but you're going to have to build up a little further after your main rotation. Maelstrom, you want to use this to buff every Shiny Crescent you can. You can use it to buff, or to build up runes for Rune Burst. It's very iffy if you do so, but it can work out. A lot of people use it at the very start of a rotation, and then, or the out of Ragnarok rotation, like the rag building rotation, and then sometimes they can go ahead and use it a second time before rag. Personally, I have trouble with that because I build rag so fast. I always have some time on it yet. Godfall, go ahead and use this at the start. It uses to reset Twilight Waltz on the second hit. Everybody knows this pretty much by now. It's your big burn. Ragnarok 2.0 buff Twilight Waltz. Pretty good. On to Twilight Waltz. Go ahead and use this skill to reset Shining Crescent and use this full rotation in Godfall, and then at the very end you can either get the full 4 hits on the last, on the second Twilight Waltz, I guess, or you can do 2 hits on the second and then do the 2 hits out of Godfall. Personally, I do one complete Twilight Waltz in Godfall. Godfall, reset it, do 2 hits Twilight Waltz, do 2 ground bashes. Then once Godfall's ended, should be ended by then you do the last 2 Twilight Waltz, and then Maelstrom, Shining Crescent, Titan Stain, going back into Rag. That's how I do it. If you're not in Ragnarok, well, you should never use this in Ragnarok unless the boss is going to die. But if you're not in Godfall, go ahead and Rune Burst before the final hit of Twilight Waltz, unless you're going to like Titan Stain, and then you'll ignore that rule. But 70 points versus a little higher damage that may or may not crit is better, in my opinion. Spinning Death, you want to use this at the start of the fight for the first set of Twilight Waltz. It'll crit, it'll do a lot of damage. Maybe you got unlucky with your Shining, or your Dragon proc, and the Dragon proc will proc on it. On Twilight Waltz, not Spinning Death. You really don't want to go, or the Dragon proc to proc on Spinning Death. But it buffs pretty much your whole Godfall rotation. You can apply this again. I don't think it's worth it unless you are in need of filler. Then go ahead and use it. It resets Leaping Splash. It does shitty damage, but it gives that Glyph of Carving. That's really good. Right here. And then there's an enhancement point that goes with it too. It's solid. Most people just use it for movement. That's what I do as well. Movement filler. It's whatever. Dash or charge. Go ahead and use this when you need back damage. Seeing as how back damage is going to disappear with the removal of crystals. We still have our gear. I think we should hold on to it, to be honest. A lot of people are thinking you just switch to the new gear. I think you should hold on to your old gear, to be honest, because I just have a feeling that maybe the old gear could provide benefits later on if they rebalance something. I don't know. It's food for thought. I'm gonna hold on to mine even if I have the new gear as well. I have a bank tab anyway, so I'll just put
You
it
hungry?
in like one of these spots. So, I have spots for it, so I'll probably just keep it. Gungnir's Bite. So this is great skill. It does a lot of Ragnarok points, 20 to be exact. If you hit multiple targets, it gives even more. 10% damage boost for 4 seconds. It has a really good skill advancement that increases 100% or damage by 100% on a 35% chance. Seeing as we use this almost as much as Leaping Slash, it feels like. It's pretty good. What else? I feel like I'm forgetting. Oh, it resets Leaping Slash. So yeah, solid skill, buffs Shining Crescent, buffs Rune Burst, buffs all of our shitty skills such as Leaping Slash, Ground Bash, Glaive Strike, and Twilight Waltz. I consider Twilight Waltz shitty because it's not a Shining Crescent tier. It buffs Titan's Bane if you can get it right. It can buff like your whole kit, especially in Ragnarok and stuff. But yeah, a lot of skilled Valk players have like 60, 70, 80% Gungnir's Bite uptime just because of how fluid their rotations are and how they utilize that skill. You want to go ahead and use it spread out. You don't want it to 4 second buff to overlap one another. You want to kind of spread that out. A lot of people fuck this up when they like Leaping Slash, Gungnir's Bite, Leaping Slash, and they're like, oh, I need to use another Leaping Slash, so they Gungnir's Bite again. Pretty much anything besides that. You really don't want to override your 4 second buff when it's 2 seconds in with another 4 second buff, because it doesn't stack, it's just 4 seconds when you apply it. So I would say Leaping Slash, Gungnir's Bite, Leaping Slash, Dream Slash, Leaping Slash, Backstab, Leaping Slash, Gungnir's Bite, something like that. You really don't want to overstack it. There's times where you kind of do if you're getting ready to do like a Shining Crescent at the end of it or a Green Burst or something, but you really want to avoid that as often as possible. Slash, so I'm still getting the shit for this. You can buff the skill damage by 25% or whatever by taking the glyph, and it's better than a Wind Slash reset because you can skip to the last hit. The last hit will crit. It doesn't waste perfect evasion. You can use Slash for slight movement if you want. It moves you like a meter or so. Again, it doesn't use perfect evasion, so it's like really kind of versatile if you know what you're doing. Slay, he was the God rank top Valk for like, if we had like the Valk Discord, it would probably be a year. He used Slash to avoid red magic on what the fuck is that dungeon? I keep wanting to say Acheron's Inferno, but it's Antroth's Abyss. He used Slash to dodge the red magic Slash or something. No, the swipe from Antroth's Abyss. You can use it, and it's pretty good if you know how to utilize it, but it does shit damage, and really you're not gonna focus on it. The skill is situational at best. Rune Burst, you want to go ahead and use this. You could say off cooldown as long as you're not fucking with Shining Crescent or Twilight Waltz kinda, but mostly just Shining Crescent. It resets its cooldown at 7 rune marks, so you can use it at 5, build up a 7 real quick, and then use it again, avoiding its cooldown altogether because it resets cooldown at 7. So that's pretty unique about it. The only problem is if you get to 7, rune burst, and it desyncs or something, you're stuck at 7 rune marks, and you can't really reset that because it's already at max, and you have to wait for cooldown, even if it didn't go off just because of desync. Go ahead and use it all the time out of Ragnarok. as long as, again, you're not fucking with Shiny Crescent, because it gives you 70 points, which is a lot, especially this coming patch right here, where people are going to start dropping the Blood Flower chest because they want to move to the next gear chest. It's still really good, so definitely consider rune bursting. Even when it's magical, and I don't know if it's still going to be good or not. I'm assuming it's still going to be good because the magic factor is 280%. It gives a lot of Ragnarok points, and it gives mana, which kind of will help Valk, since if you run the chest, if you run the new chest, you're not going to have a glistening crystal, which I run brutally anyway, but you won't have that if you do run that, which a lot of Valks do because it's really nice quality of life. Yeah, so that's cool. So Dream Slash, you want to use this to reset Leaping Slash. The priority list for Leaping Slash resets should be Gungnir's Bite, Dream Slash, Backstab, Flash, Wind Flash, and then Spinning Death can be in there if you don't have the buff active. I would say it would be above, somewhere in between Dream Slash and Backstab, just because it does give the crit buff. But Dream Slash should be used in Ragnarok if you're using the double ground bash rotation, and it should be used in filler rotations to reset Leaping Slash. That's pretty much all the uses for it. If you're going to attack a distant target, I guess, whatever. Titan's Vein, you want to use this immediately after God's Fall to go into Ragnarok, because it gives you a full thing with the skill advancement. That's pretty much its own rotation right there, so that's it. But I guess if the fight does drag on long enough, you can go ahead and use it at the end of a Ragnarok to go into either another Ragnarok or God's Fall. Overhead Slash really just uses for stun. It's a shame because it's so quick. It does 2 hits of damage very fast, but really this is just your ideal stun mech. You want to use this stun over Blood Flower because Blood Flower fucks up stun mech, but it's quick. Backstab, go ahead and use this to, again, reset Leaping Slash. After Gungnir's Bite, it's either Dream Flash or Backstab. It depends. You can go ahead and use this to iframe as well. It's quicker, it does damage compared to Evasion that does no damage. But I guess Evasion, resets Blood Flower and stuff, so that's cool. Retaliate. Use that if you get knocked down. If you do, you're a scrub anyways. Reclamation. If the boss AFKs and forever or whatever, go ahead and use that. Keep your rune marks. You can also go ahead and use it if you're really bored, I guess, at the start of a fight, people are prepping and stuff. You can use Reclamation to build a full stack of 7 rune marks. So I guess you could skip the Maelstrom, or you could rune burst at the very start, or you could just backstab backstab Shiny Crescent. It's whatever. I like the Maelstrom anyways, just because it procs the Dragon procs. But again, it's whatever. Baldur's Tears uses this at the start of the fight to build up a full Ragnarok gauge. You also want to use this during the fights, like say Bahar, to mitigate the waves, or S-Bomb or whatever. I think you could do it without. I think you do S-Bomb without Baldur's Tears now, but it definitely mitigates some damage. 70% is pretty OP. Definitely use it. It's really good. Also, if the boss AFKs again, or you die, you can go ahead and start building up rag points while a mechanic is going off, if you die or whatever, the boss is AFK. Might as well use it, I guess. And that's about it for this active skills. Passive skills are pretty much self-explanatory. I'm not going to go really over those too much. I'm going to go over the advanced skills real quick. You already know when to use this, but just in case I don't want to miss anything. Ground Bash gives 66% damage and 20 points of power. Shining Crescent, it gives 15% attack speed and gives 25 Ragnarok points on each hit, so 50 extra Ragnarok points. Good. It's the best one. You don't want to use either one of the other ones because they suck. Especially the Endurance Shred, it doesn't stack, although if you're going to do like a pit high score, maybe, I guess. Or if you soul a lot, maybe. Maelstrom, it gives 33% extra damage, 40 crit factor. The 33% extra damage is really fucking nice, actually. It's underrated. Maelstrom hits hard as shit. People do not realize that it does hit as hard. The last hit of Maelstrom is 50% of its damage. It's really fucking strong. Titan's Bane, you're going to use the focus spec. It gives the full Ragnarok. The other ones are trash. And Gungnir's Bite. It gives 35% chance at max to increase the damage of it by 100% rather. And Endurance gives max 20. You don't really notice it, but maybe it's because I'm best in slot, or I was before this stupid jewelry update, and this patch dropped. So that's about it for that. Now I want to talk about some skill suggestions that I sent to Tera. And we'll go ahead and I'll let you see. I will let you see what I sent over. So these are the changes that I sent over to Tera. Shout out to Seraph for helping publish them. He sent that. I'll go over that in a minute because there's some comments that I want to go over, even though I can't read Korean. It's a dribble mess. But the biggest change that we want is Godfall and Ragnarok from the power equivalent to a set damage, like a skill damage equivalent. So Godfall gives us 70 power, a bunch of attack speed, and decreased cooldown. We want the attack speed, we want the decreased cooldown, but the 70 power is trash. Ragnarok does the same thing, but gives us 50 power. The 50 power is trash. It used to be good, but then they fucking overloaded us on a shit ton of power, made power obsolete because, or not even obsolete, just, power crap. Literally power crap. Power got power corrupt by power. Pretty great. But we have so much power that you don't really notice it much. Yeah, it's a damage increase, but it's not a good damage increase. It's just like meh. So yeah, if we could get that to like, I think I mapped it out one time. It was like 20% power or 20% skill damage and 15% skill damage. But I'm not for certain. I can't remember off the top of my head. It might have been lower than that. It might have been higher than that. But it would definitely help us out quite a bit, especially in the future patches when they keep adding more power and more attack mod. It'll help us out if we can get that into set skill damage increase. The only reason, or the only way that this would be a bad change, the set skill damage, is if they increase like if they overdid the set skill damage increases and made it like a multiplicative factor. I've been playing Aura Kingdom, and that would be a good example of how that could be bad, but Tera hasn't really done that with any of its class balances, so I don't think that would ever be an issue, or at least not one for the far foreseeable future. Basically, power is becoming less noticeable with the recent inflation of power due to the point of diminishing returns. Pretty much everything I just summarized. The second biggest change we want is more Ragnarok points distributed throughout other skills to make up for the loss of Bloodflower points chest line. Parentheses on the new gear. We still have it on the old gear that I just verified. And I was talking to Seraph, and he wrote what I had on the guide, that I explained it in Discord to him. I don't want to creep on his Discord. I don't really want to creep on our discussion because I feel like that's private between us. But basically what I had said was, on second thought, I didn't think that distributing the Bloodflower point to other skills would be the best for balancing, because right now Bloodflower does about 1 to 2%, actually 0 to 1% of our damage, and there would be no reason to Bloodflower if we got those points from other skills. And I'm not one for making Valk OP. I don't want OP Valk. And I know that's ironic because Valk's always been OP or whatever, but I really love the class, and I don't want to see it like, just broken. I want to see it balanced. And so every single change that I've made and suggested here, I tried to keep that in mind. With, I don't want to break it. I don't want to make it like too stupid or too fucking strong. I just want to make it balanced. And I feel like if they did move the Ragnarok points to other skills, which we need it if they don't, change the Bloodflower thing, it might be broken. I think the best way they could do this is just make it an innate thing. Get rid of like the chest line on the old gear. Like right now we have Bloodflower on the chest. Get rid of it entirely on the chest, but make it an innate feature. I feel like that would make it a lot easier. Like, it would give us reasons to Bloodflower, because right now there's no reason. You don't Bloodflower for stuns because it fucks them up unless you do it on the last one. You don't Bloodflower for damage because it gives you none, even with the carving glyph that doubles crit power. It's just trash. And so I think maybe if we left it on Bloodflower, I think that'd be the most optimal balance. And I told Seraph this, but I think Seraph just went more with what I had in the guide, because last time I edited it was like in September, so he thought maybe, But shout out to Seraph for posting it anyways, because it got the main change that we want, which is Godfall and Ragnarok. After that, the only change we want are quality of life suggestions, such as Twilight Waltz, which the suggestion is to increase the first hit, the range of the first hit, so that way when you use a skill after you evasion backwards, it does not miss. Evasion has this is pretty great. Let me find it. Go to active skills. Evasion. Evasion's movement is 8 meters out of Ragnarok and 9 meters within Ragnarok. Same thing in Godfall, actually. So the only thing that changes in Godfall is the range, because you are slightly bigger or whatever. No, you're the same in Ragnarok, so whatever. So, the range of the first hit is 7, and in Ragnarok it's 8. It is literally 1 meter further, or less than evasion. So we get shafted just a hair. And say you weren't right on the boss, it's gonna hit even just a little further away. So if we were right on the boss and we evasion backwards, we would evasion 8 meters from the boss. Twilight Waltz only has a range of 7. And if we're Ragnarok or Godfall, and we evasion backwards, we would move 9 meters away, and the range would only be 9. So we just want to add a couple meters to that, and then that will be fixed. Because, and like, I've had this discussion with other valks. Yeah, you can move forward. Yeah, you can backstab. Yeah, you can wind slash. You can do anything. But it's not about what you could do, because in theory you could do anything. It's about making the class fluid, but it's not breaking the game because it's 1 meter difference. And then we have these PvP people who say, well, Valk is broken, but Valk has got nerfed and nerfed and nerfed. Granted, they're getting buffed again. Shout out, woo! But Valk is pretty trash right now. I've seen one good person on YouTube. I actually just posted him in the Tera Discord, or the Valkyrie Discord, because he impressed me. Like, Valk is absolute trash right now in PvP, and this dude managed to hold a fight with not only one person, it was like 3 or 4 people ganking up on him at the same time. I'm sure they had other consumables to like lower his cooldowns and stuff. I don't know about that, but he held his own, and that was impressive. But 1 meter on a stagger or a knockup or whatever the fuck the first hit is, that's how much I PvP since Awakening. I don't even know what it is. It's not gonna break it. 1 meter is mild. They took away. First of all, they nerfed Dark Herald to the fucking ground, which it needed it, but they nerfed it, and then they nerfed it again to decrease the range of it, because they're like, well, that's still too broken. You can still get 3 people. Whatever. They nerfed Dark Herald to the ground, then they took away the knockdown on Leaping Slash and gave it to Ground Bash, so you have no... I get that it was spammable, but you have no pressure on enemies because it doesn't matter what you do. All your main skills are on like a 40-second cooldown, or higher. But I don't think 1 or 2, or even we'll say fucking 5 meters range on the first hit, it's not gonna break it. Especially if it's just forward, it's not gonna break it. It's already a slow animation anyways, so it'd be like trying to get a knockdown on Blade Strike. Yeah, you gotta do the Leaping Slash animation first. Like, it's not gonna break it. Shining Crescent. So I said decrease the cooldown of Godfall and Titan's Bane by 2.5 seconds per hit, which would be 5 seconds per the 2 hits. Quality life buff mainly due to shorter average fights, but players would still be rewarded with the flaunted skill-based class. You know, that was advertised at the start. They said low skill floor, high skill ceiling, all that rubbish, whatever. But yeah, so most fights last anywhere from 2 to 3 minutes. I get that some of them are a little longer due to like Bahar and stuff, and probably more with this upcoming patch until we get like best in slot, and then it'll go back down. But yeah, so basically everybody's tired of hearing 1 minute or even 2 minutes Godfall at the start of a fight. This will help cut down on that, unless they want to decrease the cooldown in general of Godfall and Titan's Bane. That would help us out quite a bit too, but good luck with that. They probably won't ever do that. But this would kind of reward the player. I think Propulsion's flip on Brawler is like 10 seconds per hit. Of course, it doesn't get 2 hits, but it's still double what this suggestion is. And Shining Crescent, I wouldn't say as spammable as the other one, though it might be. No, it's not. It's definitely not, because Shining Crescent has a 40-second cooldown, and even in Ragnarok, it's still like 8 seconds. And Brawler who runs cooldown, which I guess CVR or whatever, got nerfed, but it's still quite a bit, I think. So, I think that's a pretty mild change. Titan's Bane, slightly faster animation, simple and straightforward, makes night and day difference if you squeeze this in between mechanics. So basically, Titan's Bane is perfect the way it is, but we want to greed, and every DPS class greeds, every good DPS tank greeds. I know even some good DPS healers, especially in this new patch, that are, because they're getting like crit power or whatever and attack speed, that are probably going to greed DPS. If we could just get this in off just a little sooner, because that last hit kind of fucks us. It's so slow, that last hit is. And if you evasion out of it, you lose 400 points right off the bat. So, sucks. Yeah, just that's all we need for that. Bloodflower, increased points on critical hit, rewards perfect evasion. This was a supplementary. I should have had it up there by perfect evasion. But this was a supplementary suggestion. Basically, if say we get perfect evasion and we use Bloodflower, that it gave us full points, the Ragnarok point chest line for it. This was another way to balance it, I think, but I don't know. Even like 5 or 10 points extra per critical hit would be alright. There'd still be some RNG stuff on critical hits that weren't a perfect evasion, but I think since Bloodflower has like a low percent chance, they could give it a 0 crit chance unless you perfect evasion, and then it'd still be decent, I guess. Whatever. It's a meh change, but I thought, you know, it'd be nice to incorporate perfect evasion in some way. Glaive Strike. So I started off with a generic increased damage or attack speed, or attack speed, because that's the biggest problem with it. It has a long animation and cast, and lackluster damage because Ground Bash is so strong right now. That was the generic fix for it. However, I came up with another one. It's chaining suggestion, where it changed from Shining Crescent as well as Leaping Splash with increased casting speed. This would help in Ragnarok. You can already get 4 Shining Crescents, and you can already do Rune Burst or whatever. However, this would help alleviate some of, like, you know, in like bosses and shit that aren't fucking floor mats, they always have you in void shit. This would help build up the Rune Burst a little faster, so that way you could adjust and such in your Ragnarok without losing as much damage. And you really don't want to lose that 4th Shining Crescent, so like, yeah. It would also open up Twilight Waltz, because you'd be able to Glaive Strike and have the next set ready to go after you Twilight Waltz again, because that would be 4 rune marks, and then Twilight Waltz gives 3, which is 7, which is perfect for the next Shining Crescent. It has viability in there. I left it out initially. I put it in the guide though, or the suggestion log, so that Sarah could see it, and if he thought, you know, the K-Terra community wouldn't laugh at it or straight up and disregard the rest of the changes, that maybe, you know, to include it, but I ultimately left it up to him. I think there might be a comment or so in there. There's 8 at the moment, maybe 9 if somebody commented just now, but I think it's a viable solution to Glaive Strike. I also thought of another one that is kind of meh, but it would make sense in its own right. So the idea was to decrease the cooldown of Shining Crescent by 1 second and Maelstrom by 5 seconds, or something to that extent. I kind of just thought of it, I think yesterday, on my way to work or something, because I was reading the next patch. I got all hyped about it, but basically, this would help with getting that 4 shiny crescents and rag. It wouldn't allow for a 5th one. It wouldn't allow for a 5th one, but it would help alleviate that. And you wouldn't be able to get too much more often Godfall. Like, it wouldn't be viable to do so anyways, because you still just want to do your Twilight Waltz rotation because it's the highest damage within that first burn. And since tanks can't rearrange the first burn unless they start at 90%, it'd still be the best one to just do the Twilight Waltz rotation. But, where was I going? Oh, it would help with get that last Maelstrom in before Ragnarok initially. So, okay, so the way it is, you Godfall, you Titan Fang, you Ragnarok, and then you do the Twilight Waltz rotation. And throwing a Glaive Strike or 2 in there would help. You wouldn't get another Shiny Crescent off within the Raggen build phase, but you'd get a second Maelstrom pretty much because the 5 seconds or whatever. I don't think you'd be able to use that in Ragnarok, though you could just put passive there, but I didn't include it anyways. I'm just talking about a buff that I thought in my head, so it's pretty pointless to even talk about it. But alas, I've just talked about it for the last 5 minutes. Haha! So, this is Seraph's posted content. There's 8 comments. Seraph, in which I think is 2 or 3 of them. We'll go ahead and translate this to English. It's a complete clusterfuck unless you can read Korean. So, and even in the English, it's still a complete cluster. So, hello, job user, Seraph. Blah blah blah. I don't know Valk, so I'm leaving it here for you. So he names our suggestions. He says this is the most important one, and there's no need for anything else, which is what I told him to say, because this is the most important change that we could get. And then he explains my reasoning behind it. Pretty great. Added Moonlight Recovery to various skills. He talks about the Bloodflower Chest and moving it to other skills. I think he misinterpreted what I said. He said he was drinking that night. So, but basically, he had said, you know, we want to put Bloodflower on other skills. The points from Bloodflower Chest, since we're missing it with the new gear, and put it on other skills, which is what I initially asked for. I had told him otherwise, that I think it's best left on Bloodflower, but I cannot argue with him because he just did what I asked him to do for like a couple months. But then he pointed out that Bloodflower is less than 1% of the damage, even with the armor option, which the armor option just gives points, and the glyph option gives crit power, but it even still wouldn't be more than 1%. Twilight Waltz, he talked about that. Shiny Crescent, he talked about that. He talked about pretty much everything I talked about. Then he linked the Shiny Crescent to Glaive Strike animation. I'll go ahead and play that now. Before you freak out, it's an edited video. You can see the buff, the bar, and even the Shinra meter adjust when I edit out the Leaping Slash. So I'll go ahead and play it. Shiny Crescent, Glaive Strike. Shiny Crescent, Glaive Strike. And like I said, you can see that the ship pops just a little bit because it's an edited video. Obviously, I don't have the talent to just lose a Leaping Slash. So then we have the comments. I can only go this way. I hope that Valk goes this way. I'm not sure. Full Moon Titan's Vein casting speed to increase practically. Add blah 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 blah. Casting speed is slow tactic to increase speed unavailable between skills. one decent speed. Yeah, I'm gonna guess he's talking about how Titans, when you can kind of, if you start the mechanic, the middle skill, you can press it, and then right before it ticks, you can detonate it, and then it will tick and detonate at the same time. I'm gonna guess that's what he's talking about, but it still doesn't change the fact that we need the last hit to be faster, because it's slow. Why change? I think you might make a PvP when it is. I think he's saying that it's going to be an issue in PvP. Honestly, I don't think a couple meters range is going to hurt us at all. PvP for Valk is just kind of stagnant. There's one or two good players. I saw one, but we all know that there's one or two good players on everything. It doesn't mean that that's the norm. Just please no. I'm gonna guess that means please explain. I don't even know what he's talking about there, so anyways, he said please explain. I've written a few times on the bulletin board, so I'm guessing this is a level 81 forum Valk. I'm gonna guess he knows kind of what he's talking about, although Korean Valks have kind of proven that they play the class very differently. I'm not gonna say they play the class wrong, but they play it very differently. New moon cooldown reduction due to sun. Check out message board. I can't see it. I don't know what they're talking about at this point, but neither do I at this point. 3 weights. I don't know. Is he referring to 3 weights? What is in the guide? What is in my suggestion that would be 3 or something? 1, 2, 3. 3. Or is he talking about how Godfall has 3 effects, and I just want the skill damage because I want skill damage plus other things? I'm just talking about power. I'm trying to figure out. I don't know what he's talking about, but it is jumbled Korean translated into English. These probably aren't accurate translations. They probably make a lot of sense in Korean. John, profession, Colum job option, wants to buy another job wearing a +2. Gonna guess he's talking about job must be referred to the class. So, Colgum, I don't know if that is. I think. Walmu is Valk. I know that much because I was reading the comments earlier. Wearing a +2, 2+. Maybe I think he's talking about heroic armor. I'm not sure, but Geon's time due to war cool operate. I don't know. I really don't know what he's talking about. I'm not gonna pretend like I do. I was just trying to get a feel for the comments in Korean because this really depends on how these ever get implemented, if they do at all. It's pretty interesting to see the Korean forums, honestly. This is the first time I've looked at them. It's interesting. It looks like the Korean devs pay attention to their community, whereas the mass ones don't really do that. But, alas, we're going to move on to my rotation video that I talked about. This is actually the guy that was really good in PvP. If you want to check out his videos, his name is Kona Tawin. But his PvP was pretty good. It's a long video. It's like 30 minutes. I just skipped halfway, and then he's fighting like 4 people, and he's holding his own. It's pretty good, and he was fighting a boss while doing so. So anyways, we'll go ahead and play this video. I'll go ahead and narrate. I fucked up a couple times, and I'll go ahead and point those out. So I picked the priest buff because I want the attack speed, plus the CDR is not going to hurt. You can do it with the Mystic CDR too, I just did priest. My armor, I got full speed everything. The etchings are plus for 5% and 3% CDR, tier 4 etchings. Even it's on Guardian. I was killing the boss too quick, so I had to downgrade. Yeah. I didn't use any attack speed zerks because you don't need it. You won't use that in real life. I did go ahead and pop full consumes and even brought my pet so that you can see when I popped everything. I made this as a realistic as possible run. So I Dream Slash so that the boss doesn't turn, then I wait for him to drop his items again. Right now, then I back up. Spinning Death, because you want to start that out, and then you go into God's Fall rotation. See how Dragon Proc has proc? That's perfect, that's what you want. I initially popped Brooch and Beer together. I just do it because it's a macro I've set up. Okay, now I've done the first rotation of Twilight Waltz. I've reset it. Now I'm going to do the second rotation of Twilight Waltz, but I'm not going to do the last two hits. Instead, I do two ground bashes like that. Then I do that. I fucked up and hit Gunger's Bite instead of Dream Slash, or Gunger's Bite for Twilight Waltz instead of Maelstrom Shining Crescent, so I had to Dream Slash. Then I just do the simple rotation. I do Glaive Strike instead of Ground Bash just because of the simplicity of it. I don't have tank buff, so it's kind of harder to get the two Ground Bashes and the Dream Smash off. So I just use Glaive Strike. You want to do this rotation with a Brawler. There are exceptions, but like especially if you're going to root beer within it. I don't like to root beer within Rag. No point in it to me. So, I fuck up here as well. It's actually, let's go back a little bit in the video. I finish, and then when I start Twilight Waltz, I Gunger's Bite before I Leaping Slash. Yep, and I am 30% or 30 points shy of a perfect rotation, and I actually have to delay Ragnarok for that next Bloodflower by like a second or a half a second or so, which kind of makes a big deal because it takes, we'll go back just a hair, okay, it's about ready to fall off. It's a 119 and 120. Okay, so Ragnarok just ended. The timer is 120. Let's see how long it takes to get a full Ragnarok bar. I have 0 Ragnarok right now. It's at 120. So. "23 seconds, 24 seconds, 25 seconds. Either way, you can get it in just anywhere between 20 to 30 seconds. I think 23 seconds is probably the low end, but I'm sure if like I didn't fuck up with that Leaping Slash, I would have probably made 22 seconds. But you can see the detrimental effects fucking up during your rag build can hurt you. I also use a my second root beer to buff up my rag building stage, because theoretically the least time you spend out of rag, the better, right? You want to spend the most time you can in rag. And because we can already get all of our rotations off within Rag, I feel like it's better just to get it back into Rag as fast as possible. You could argue, or if you have extra attack speed, you could get extra hits off, and that would be more enraged damage and stuff, which I guess, but I'd rather just have Ragnarok because it's a big power. You're gonna get more of your harder hitting skills off than just like Leaping Slash and Enrage, whatever. Plus, you're not gonna get a 5th Shining Crescent in your Ragnarok, so it's like there's no really point into root bearing for your Ragnarok unless you need it because you have like a brawler tank or you're trying something and you really need that extra attack speed to get that 4th Shining Crescent off, which would be viable then, but it's very iffy. But anyways, back into Ragnarok I go. And that's it. That is what a level 70 Awakened Valk looks like. So it's a pretty fun build. It's a pretty fun rotation. It takes a lot to get used to it. A lot of people come to me and like, how do you remember that? It's mainly muscle memory. Once you learn what does what, it's a lot easier. But that's pretty much what that is. This is an original clip. So Rotland's a friend of mine. We'll go ahead and get out of that. Right back to this. No, it's the original server. It's not an original server. It's fun. It's the new patch there, Rudy. When you're not playing a character for a long time, to where they changed the class a bit, and now you don't have for all the skills. Yep, that's me. I went on a hiatus for a long time, and then I came back and put all the gold that I had into Gungnir's Bite, which was the only one I had left. But God, it's a gold, pretty massive gold sink. And like, I pretty much have everything else unlocked. Like, all my jewelry, none of them requires like diamonds or anything now. Not that I'm aware of, anyway. So like, the relics and the paladins are pretty much my big gold sinks, as well as my skill advancement right now. I quit the game because they brought back Democrin's Factory or whatever, and I hated that fucking dungeon. I hate that fucking dungeon worth of passion. It's so brain dead. It's not even challenging. It's just run this fucking shit. And then the absurd amount of fucking times what is this? 24? I thought it was higher than that. Maybe it's the necklace. Oh yeah, that's from GVH. 45 fucking times for a 13% chance of success. And I might have failed a few times too. No, I haven't. But still, that's ridiculous. 13 fucking percent chance. 50 or 45 fucking dungeons, which I guess it would be a little lower if like you did just the dailies, because then you get an extra one, but still, that's ridiculous. 20 fucking days, that's almost a fucking month of just grinding it for a 13 goddamn fucking percent chance to enchant the stupid fucking thing. I hate fucking Democrin's Factory. And then they're like, oh, you can do it from other skills or other dungeons too. Yeah, that is a complete carbon copy of the old dungeon. They just added some extra mechanics to make it pseudo hard. I don't know, man. The only thing Tera, like, I can think of that racks. Like it pisses me off if they don't have new content. Like it takes so long for fucking new content, and then they like, well, this is new content, and this should suffice you for a while because it's gonna take 3 years for you to get best in slot because of the RNG that we've brought with this system. And then there's always that one person who gets like really good luck and gets everything first try. Meanwhile, you're fucking out there failing. You've lost 3 million fucking gold on this one piece of equipment just because it doesn't fucking want to enchant. Like, I don't know, man. I hate games that like are really RNG, and I hate games that just like stale. And I love Tera. Like, I dedicate so much of my life to Tera, especially Valkyrie, but it just needs more content. Like, which maybe this patch, like I said, it looks interesting for like a theory crafting build perspective or a theory crafting perspective, but I don't know, man. I feel like they're gonna just stop. Anyways, I think that concludes the stream for now. Let me know in Discord if you guys need anything or have any questions. I'm probably not going to be able to get to this until tomorrow because I work tomorrow and then I have a couple days off and then I work the rest of the week. But this patch definitely looks interesting. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing yet. I'm hoping it's a good thing, but maybe I just download this patch right now, so I guess I'll just go through a few skills and give you my thoughts on it. I see people do that on YouTube all the time, so can't be bad, right? Physical factor 145%, magical factor 27, physical. Magical, that's kind of interesting. Physical. Charge is magical, that's again interesting. Physical, magical, physical, magical. Huh, I would have thought Blood Flower would have been a magical. Like, I've seen the things, I just kind of looked at the important skills, and now that I see some of the, like, the minor ones that are kind of weird, I was like, that's kind of iffy. Retaliate is 200% physical. I wonder if, like, other classes with same skills, such as Retaliate, is, like, magical. I don't know. It looks interesting. I kind of want to see if anybody has like a new piece of gear. So we're going to go ahead and reset. Yeah, I guess this looks like it's Dark Light Fight. Magic Amplification. I don't even know if that's good. I'm gonna assume it's decent. Even though it's got a magical amplification, I'm sure Reaper's physical, but I don't know, they have a lot of magical-esque attacks. It could be decent. It deals 20% additional damage. That's interesting. 459. The level is 459.0 out of 492.3. Do we have points? No. 161.6. That's interesting. I wonder what the top dungeon is. Oh, they have. Okay, that's cool, I guess. I don't know, man. I think we should keep a hold of our old gear just in case. Because, like, those crystals. I don't like about this is it's got a amplification, but it looks like they're doing away with a lot of the excess power from the gear itself, and they're just adding it to the amplifier. I'm not sure how the amplifier works, or the amplification works. They just added it like a multiplicative value, exponential. I doubt it, but oh, it's interesting. I wonder if you can transfuse these gears. Oh, yep, or infuse. Yep, you can. There was a lot of questions I had about this gear just because it looked like it was surrounded in mystery. Because I didn't understand Korean. I still don't understand the Korean, obviously, but okay, so right now Valk is like 1 power is equal to like 1,000 or more attack modifier, just because of our attack modifier on our weapon. The attack modifier on our weapon is like 33, 34, we'll say 34,000. This will put us at way higher basic attack mod. We'll lose a lot of our damage percent because it's added into it, but for power to power should be higher because the attack modifier is so much more. So instead of like 1 power giving us 1,000, it might give us 2,000 just because this attack modifier is so high, or this attack modifier is so high compared to this one. So it's interesting for like a theory crafting build. And before anybody roasts me a new one, I haven't paid attention to the theory crafting chat other than to get some Korean names for some skills lately. So this physical amplification at 4,840, I'm not sure that's better than just straight up power from the old mask, because it doesn't look like this armor gives power from the new shit. This increases power by 24, right? This increases amplification by 4,800 and some odd. If that's additive, it's definitely worse. Definitely worse, because while it gives more defense and stuff, like the power is, like I said, this it gives right now 24 power, and like I just said, it's 1 power is equal to 1,000 attack mod, and this is at 34,000 attack mod on our weapon. If we increase this to 60,000 and 65,000, 1 power should give us, give or take, 1 to 2,000 at least attack mod, and so that 24,000 attack mod that it gives us from our chest would be, with this, possibly up to 48,000. I'm gonna guess it's probably near 40,000, but unless, like I said, this physical amplification is multiplicative somehow, 4,840 is definitely a downgrade, and yeah. So the physical amplification on the gloves is a little higher, but I think there's more power on the gloves as well. I may be wrong. 20 power plus 5 power plus 5 power plus 4 damage from Death Red Glove. Yeah, I'm not sure the armor is an upgrade at all. So maybe the glaive is for Valk at least, but ooh, that's actually interesting. 5% additional attack. So the chest has something like that. It doesn't look like deals 10% additional damage when attacking monsters. Maybe. This is increases 1, 2, is 8%. That's interesting too. I didn't catch it the first time. 10% damage from dealing monsters. That's only 8% higher, and you lose a lot of power from that. It's interesting. I'll have to fuck around with it when I get it, but it's interesting. And I don't know, like maybe upgrading your gloves not only increases your defense modifier, maybe it increases your physical amplification or magical amplification. I don't fucking know. But oh, that's my initial thoughts on that. That looks pretty cool. It's high skill advancement. I don't know if that'll be an actual drop like Gossamer Vault. I know Gossamer Vault drops shitty ones too. So. Interesting. Let's see if comments has clarified. Nope, nobody on the comments. They say this last dungeon is going to be some kind of a face roll just because of it reskinning certain bosses, but we'll see in time, I guess. Ooh, what's this? More slots. What's this? What's this? Is there more costumes? That's real in-game right there. Dressing room. Ooh, a ribbon. That's so ugly. No, get it off me. The wet hair is stupid too. You can't even change the color on that. It's so dumb. At least I haven't been able to find how to change the color on that. The ribbon thing's cool. I have a yellow dress that'll look good on it. I wonder how you get it. Because it looks like you might be able to just get it, but I'm sure EMA has decided some spectacular way to pay money for it. Hey, it says purchase. Let's see. This is legitimately the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Accessories. I wonder if it's from the new... Could you imagine trying to get like an armor and they give you an accessory? I have one of these hats. It's actually one of the costumes on my stream, Backflash, or cover page, or whatever you want to call it.
For the Federation,
when I'm not online.
Good timing on your part.
Keep in touch.
Broker. Well, I guess I could just show you.
Are you new around
or
here?
see what it looks like.
A pleasant conversation.
Go ahead and add. Where's my old drive? There it is. Let's see what it looks like. It doesn't really go with it, but I guess I could change the yellow a little bit to make it go with it. Kind of just feels out of place. I'm not a big person that's out of place. Whereas I'm using like the most free-to-play outfit there is, besides the fiery halo. Most of people get like the free ones, but I wanted to adjust it. It's like, show you so you can see it. You can't even see it on the like the fucking preset that I have it set on. Her hair's on fire. That's literally it. I think I spent like 400,000 on this. No, it was cheaper than that. It might have been like 200,000 on this fucking costume because it has his hair on fire right there. This is why I should not have been given gold. I think at that time I was still struggling for like plus 2 because it was like really hard on diamonds, and I failed so many times. I said fuck it, and I just bought a bunch of costumes. But yeah. It doesn't look like this has any. It's just no physical, no modifier at all besides the power and the damage percent. I don't know, man. Though it might be better, especially for valk. I think we built a lot of power. That power OP, since our fucking attack stat is so fucking high. And since we build so much power instead of crit, like. See a thing. Oh shit! I forgot. I'm gonna try a training ground real quick.
For the Federation, I have.
I heard they fucked with the crit percent chance of like all the classes, and I want to go ahead and verify that valk is still power based and not having to build some fucking crit, because that would suck, right? I'll go ahead and downgrade weapons though. We're going to go ahead and downgrade to this. We're going to take off the crystals though, because I feel like that might be too OP. I'm hoping that'll last a little bit at least. Watch me fuck up on this rotation and like shame myself in front of y'all. I don't even want to pop these just because I think it might fuck with the big results.
Enrage.
Even though I could use that free attack speed.
Critical death.
Oh yeah, I don't have
Critical
been
death.
listening on this one. That's awesome. Awkward. So anyway,
Critical death.
it's the
Critical death.
at least the regular hit versus has
Critical death.
yeah, so there you go.
Critical death. Critical death. Critical death. Critical pummel. Critical pummel. Critical pummel. Critical pummel. Spinning death. Critical pummel. Spinning death. Critical pummel. Spinning death. Critical pummel. Spinning death.
So it looks like we still crit enough. Shine Crescent crit 100%, Ruin Burst crit 100%, Round Bash crit 100%, Leaping Slash crit surprisingly 90%? What? What? Gunner's Bite crit, what? What? Okay, this is interesting. Yeah. So, Gunner's Bite, 77%. It crit 21%, or 21 times out of 27 times. Leaping Slash crit 45 times out of 50 times. And Maelstrom crit 79%. So this is not like running like no crit, and this is like crazy actually. So I'm going to go ahead and post that to the Valk Discord because that is ridiculous. I think the crit chance thing actually helped us out a little bit, which is surprising. Actually, legitimately surprising. And I'm gonna conclude this video. Thank you all for tuning into my stream. I appreciate you. I'll see you next time. Hopefully, I'll have a better grasp on this patch. So, as always, thanks for tuning in.